Hello, 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 people. Welcome back to an episode of the USL show. It is great to be back. I had a busy week last week, so I was not able to be here. So I am so excited to talk some ball. We got some big news. Some weird stuff going on in Lexington. Sam Stockley was suspended, is now at Stoke City. We end up going out, and the Cosmos are back, baby. And we're going to be talking to Michael all about that. He'll be coming on to join us in a minute. And we have our combined best 11 midway through the season. We're halfway through the Jägermeister. We're halfway through the regular season. Let's talk about who has been the best and all about why we hate your favorite club, because we absolutely do. So with all that said, John, how are you?
Yeah, doing well. Happy to have you back in the mix.
Yeah, it's a good time. I have a job now, so that's cool. Shout out to being employed.
We love to hear it.
Yeah. Ryan, you look fantastic with your Atletico Dallas kit.
Yeah, thank you to Atletico Dallas for sending this along. It's a pretty cool design, and I would go to war for this crest.
Fair. I don't know if I need to throw this out there. If for some reason people are sending kits to me, by the way, if you're not, that's fine. I get it. But if you are, I've moved from the last address, so that's tough. Anyway, so all that to be said, we're going to go ahead, and I want to start off thank our wonderful patrons: Josh, Dylan, William, Sandy, Ryan, Madcap Peel, Timothy Meadows, Andrew Housley, All the Hedgehog, Kunal Patel, MOS, NF Fresh 30, Tim Knox, Rayon Lacrosse, Stephen Howard, Jeremy Churchman, Alberto Aguilar, Noah Telfer, Michael Fuchs, Joshua Duder, John Fuller, Christopher Cohn, Frank Anthony, John Hunt, and Harry Austin. Thank you so much for supporting us. We appreciate you so much. We really do appreciate you. Thank you so much for helping us do what we do. We love you so much. So let's go ahead and start off with the first little bit of the news, okay? And it's going to have to be quick, frankly, but there is a lot to talk about. With Lexington Sporting Club, the Sam Stockley was suspended by the league. It was reported by Fox 56, the local outlets who covers all of Lexington stuff. They host, I think, their local media market altogether. And they announced that he was suspended. And as of today, July 1st, he is now the academy director at Stoke City, or as I've learned, the locals pronounce it Stoke. So that has been kind of news. He is no longer in Lexington whatsoever. It was announced as the interim head coach, Sam Stockley, was suspended, but he's also was the men's football director, and I think overall football director. So that's a big blow to Lexington, which there's been some kind of underlying stuff going on there with who's actually running the club altogether, but we can get all involved in that. John, what say you?
First question, where did you hear that pronunciation of Stoke?
I looked it up just for some reason, and I just kind of, because I was listening to like the Stoke City like podcast, just to see what they had to say about Sam Stockley. And they're like, yeah, we're so glad to have him here at Stick. And I'm like, what is that? Don't say that to me.
That's a very Midlands England type of accent.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Threw me off, completely freaked me out.
No, but as far as the Stockley of it all and the Lexington of it all, I think this is a club that on the men's and women's side has taken a lot of time to find their people, to settle down and figure out what they want to be as an organization. Sam Stockley was an important part of that in both setups, both sides of the equation for Lexington. But we've seen, in terms of the Terry Boss regime, what they're moving towards with the Super League club and the signings for next season. I think they've professionalized a little bit, and given what we've learned now about Stockley, it's for the better that he's not going to be involved going forward. I don't know what went on behind the scenes. Obviously, there's been reporting there was USL League action. It seems like Lexington across the board is learning their lessons in a way that's important to see for that club as they develop.
Yeah, and it's very important that we still continue to see USL taking action when basically what has kind of come out of the hostile work environment of kind of being abrasive language or anything of that nature from what we could tell from behind the scenes. it's important that the league is at least taking action on that front and wanting to look out for what's best for its players, its staff, and anyone who's employed from any of these clubs.
Yeah, so just want to kind of give a couple points of just kind of credit. Dustin Massengill is the person who wrote the article that came out on Fox 56. And in general, we don't know a lot, right? We don't know the severity of the suspension, right? It can kind of go anywhere from what we saw with Jermaine Jones, which was essentially indefinite leave, and then we're also kicking out Fuego, so it didn't matter. And then there was also the Mark McKeever, who was at One Knox, where they actually gave like a level of what he had done. I think it was a level 2, which they never really specified what that actually means. We kind of read between the lines, but we do know that he crossed a line that let the league take action, which is a big deal, right? Just to kind of read the official club statement, an independent investigation was conducted through USL Safe Space program into allegations involving the technical staff of Lexington Sporting Club's women's team. Based on the findings, appropriate action has been taken. Lexington Sporting Club remains committed to maintaining a culture of safety, respect, and open communication throughout our club and community. Out of respect for all involved in adhering to safeguards best practices, the club will not be commenting further, and the league refused to comment as well. That is just kind of where I would say, I don't want to say trust the league too much, but we heard from the McKeever situation that they suspended him. He went to I think they made him go to some kind of classes, whatever, I can't remember what they're called exactly, but basically anger management classes, and made him go through those. And a lot of people who were involved with that situation said that was the proper action, including the players. So they have a decent history of this particular situation. So there's that. And also, he's no longer at the club at all. He's in Stoke City. He is gone as of today, completely gone. So it's a fresh start for Lexington, who the men's side, they've been hot. The women's side, they need a pick-me-up, and maybe this is just what they needed.
I mean, women's side, you get Weinert in the mix.
Yes.
Apparently long-term partner with Joe Hafferty, who's on the men's team. Amazing stuff happening in the USL right now, people. That's awesome. Yeah, they're going off in the free agent market. I'm excited to see where they go.
All right. Anything else for you guys? Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and let's probably talk about the thing that most people are here to talk about, because while we love to get into who's suspended and why we hate everybody, we hate the Cosmos, apparently. That's what everybody says anyway. The Cosmos are allegedly coming back. And if you check out the link in the description, we have the full article that was posted. And the Cosmos are apparently coming back. That is who the New Jersey USL of League One is going to be. So who else to talk about it? Not me. I'm just some guy. Why not the man who wrote the article himself, who dropped the news? Michael, hey man, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How you doing?
Doing well. So the Cosmos, the New York Cosmos of New Jersey, are officially back, and allegedly. Michael, what kind of went into finding out the information? What's the basis of kind of what went on here for that you got this scoop, basically?
All right. First off, I'm talking about the Cosmos 2025. I need a drink real quick.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So the basis of this all kind of begins with the team co-founder, Eric Stover. In that sense, if that name rings a bell, it's because besides being the man who helped build Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey, and helped bring Thierry Henry to MLS in 2010, he is also the former COO of the New York Cosmos back in the NASL, the NASL 2.0, the NASL 2010s, we can call it that. he stuck around with the team for a long time, and even after he left, he was always kind of around as a consultant. So him joining New Jersey Pro Soccer, which is I think officially the name of the company, or the whatever you do whenever you launch a team, you have that weird early stage. That's what he is. He's the co-founder and like CEO right now. That was kind of like the neat moment. And then other things started to happen. Like I get a DM from my former NASL boss, because I used to be an intern for the NASL, who then suddenly says, "Hey, I'm running PR for the New Jersey Pro Soccer." And I'm like, all right, okay. And then other things start to happen, we start to see trademarks start to shift around. And by this point, it feels like it's like that moment where Messi was coming down the less, and you start to realize, okay, this is like 5%. It's 10% now. Now we're at 20. Now we're at 40. So that's kind of where I started digging around a bit more. And there were other people making the same assumptions over time. It kind of really picked up in the last week, and I would say John saw a lot of that, where where I was kind of talking to him and others, going, something's going on over here, and I don't know what. And eventually, I finally got someone from USL to go. I got some at USL sources to go, yeah, you're right. You're in the right direction. You got it.
So when we are looking at what this means, right? Because we all have our favorite people in the space who talk about these old names like the Cosmos and whatnot. You know, what's making the USL the right matchmaker, if you will, for this situation?
You evil person.
What do you mean? I'm just asking a question.
Could you repeat your question? Because I'm sorry,
basically, is this anything more than cosmetic? Like, is this just a brand that they are just choosing to revive, or is this actually the Cosmos?
Well, if it's actually the Cosmos has been dead for like 5 years. So, I mean, what are the Cosmos? The Cosmos have, like, I've argued with people for 5 years, ever since they stopped doing NISA, that, hey, why aren't they in the CS? Why aren't they in the Cosmo League right now? Why aren't they still in the NPSL? Why aren't they doing something? Like, why is the brand just dead? And it's because Rocco Camiso was focusing on Fiorentina and the lawsuit against U.S. Soccer, because he was funding the NASL lawsuit against U.S. Soccer and MLS. So in that case, you're going from nothing to something. But I do think that, kind of, let's dig into your question a little bit there. It probably is going to be a lot of cosmetic, but I think they're trying to bring in things from NASL 2.0. Nothing that I could say definitively right now, but I've heard some names floated around about involvement that would be NASL 2.0. We already have Stover there. I think, and personally, we keep saying, you made the joke before, like the New York Cosmos of New Jersey, or the Patterson Cosmos. They're probably going to cut the name, like from New York Cosmos to just the Cosmos, the thing they did back in the late 70s when they moved to Giant Stadium the first time. So they're probably going to have the brand, the Cosmos. They're probably going to sell merch of the Cosmos. But in terms of a team org structure, it might be a bunch of the old guard, like trying to, bring back the old days. But I do trust Stover enough to have enough sense to know when to bring in fresh blood, because that's something that he's always been good at. He's been good at doing things himself, but he's always been good at building teams and working with others. So it's a little bit of point A and point B, in my opinion.
Yeah, and on a personal level, you and I were in the trenches of the NASL. Obviously, you're wearing a Cosmos kit right now. What does it mean to have this team back, even in a different form?
I've seen people get really excited, and that kind of means a lot to me. I've seen a lot of people get very emotional about it being back. I find it very funny that if you look at that NASL 2017 roster of teams, almost everyone except FC Edmonton, FC Deltas, and Puerto Rico FC, like they're still kicking. Like they're in the USL now. Like the Cosmos were always like the great what if of the NASL, because we saw Tampa Bay jump, we saw the Miami jump, we saw the North Carolina jump, we saw all these teams jump, and Cosmos were always kind of like, dang, if only Rocco wasn't so damn stubborn, or if wasn't this and that. So to see them join, even if it is just cosmetic, which we won't know until July 10th and until we see some more work structure, it's a turning of the page, because it's a huge moment for, if big soccer was still a thing, they'd be going nuts about this right now. And r/MLS is not hitting the same like highs of this, but it's just to see the amount of virtual blood that was spilled over this team. Like, to see this happen is just, it's like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon shaking hands at WrestleMania X7.
Love that.
And you have the team going into Hinchcliffe Stadium as well, kind of I guess a really good like national historic landmark, as you have put it. How important do you think playing in such a venue would be to this new Cosmos organization?
Oh, I think it's a huge deal, because not just for the historic value, but because Eric Stover has been leading the charge in redeveloping and fixing up that stadium since 2021. That's one thing that I'm not sure about, in the sense that, was Stover always planning to do this, or was it just something that worked out? Because when he joined the Hinchcliffe Restoration Project in 2021, there's also a part where, like, a couple sources I know said the Cosmos have been searching for a couple years, and they finally landed on Patterson. I'm like, which years is that? Like, when did this work? How long has this game been going on? Have they been playing us like a fiddle? But to go back to your point, Hinchcliffe is beautiful. I've been there once or twice. I've been there for an Barcelona of Ecuador played Osners FC of the NPSL in a friendly earlier this year. And it was a stellar crowd. It was a stellar venue. The money that's gone into that has been greatly used. The New Jersey Jackals of independent, baseball, they play there. They get decent crowds. So I'm all for reusing community space like that. So to see a pro team go there, let alone the Cosmos, is exciting. I was already excited for New Jersey Pro Soccer. For the Cosmos to go there, I think that it's a good place for them. I'm worried about certain aspects of it, but like the stadium itself is right for lower division.
So you mentioned the venue is perfect. Like, obviously Patterson is an area that craves professional soccer, right?
They won an Open Cup.
Right. Like, this is an area that will support it, but isn't the question here, and it's kind of the joke that I make earlier with our favorite National Soccer League, right? Of what are they going to be able to do to ensure that it lasts for more than 1 year? Because you can get people excited about an old brand that they know. You can get them excited about pro soccer for 1 year, but how do we know that this is not just a 1 year flash in the pan,
So one thing I've talked about privately with people, and as someone who covers soccer, I'm like, I don't know if it was mentioned, but I'm from North Jersey. Like, Patterson's like 20, 30 minutes away from me. So one thing that I've always been worried about with this USL team was there is a high Hispanic population in Patterson, especially around Hinchcliffe, and they like soccer. I don't know if they like American soccer. I think that when you get 4,000 to 5,000 people, and like in previous years, there have been 10,000 people that have seen Barcelona play an exhibition friendly against an amateur team. And they go wild. And like that's in the snow. You're having Ecuadorians come out in the snow. That is a testament. And then I made the joke, someone saying, you can get 4,000 Ecuadorians in Hinchcliffe in the snow. Can you get 1,000 of them to come in the summer for a USL team? And I think that's always been my worry, even before the Cosmos thing. So having the Cosmos brand, I think will draw some interest, not just for Patterson, but from around the area. And I also have a theory that, because we see Admiral, the sportswear company, they've been selling Cosmos merch. If you have it, you might be able to go into an Oakland Roots situation or a Ford Masson situation where you become a kit company, you become a jersey company, you become a t-shirt company. Like, and I respect Oakland Roots, even when they're making dumb t-shirts about Matt Fondy scoring a tie, tie and goal. That's in the trenches of Nisa for you. But I do think that it's a 50-50 gamble because I don't know if it'll work like post 2026. I don't know if it'll work in 2026. It's all in a matter of how Stover does it. And I do respect Eric Stover a lot. And I do think he's a good head on his shoulders. It's all in the matter of how he does it, because you're going to have to do something to attract the local populace, whether that's, have that cultural identity incorporated into the Cosmos, maybe sign someone from those countries to excite them. But also you have to appeal to the surrounding, which is just using the Cosmos brand. How do you do that? Pele's dead. Like, who do you get? Like, I don't know who you get that can like reignite that Cosmos flair right now,
Yeah. Obviously, if people want to know more things, they can go to hudsonriverblue.com and check out what you wrote. At the very least, give you a click, because numbers make us feel happy things. So please,
yes,
click
they do.
the link. Even if you don't read it, just click the link like 17 times. Just do it. Just also read it, though.
Share it on Blue Sky and share it on Twitter if you're still on there.
Yeah, like share it on all the things. Just do it, please. I don't think we have a Corey Herzog connection to the Cosmos. We can revive him for one day. We can do it.
Get out of here.
But there was, as we kind of go into this and kind of before we let you go, and just kind of, we touched on a little bit, specifically the New York area, right? This is in New Jersey, but it's not so far out that people from the New York area like can't travel. Do you think that you'll see a lot of travel to Patterson from outside the Patterson area because it's the Cosmos, or do you think it's going to stay fairly local?
I think you'll see some, because if you were around for the Cosmos in NASL, you had people traveling from New Jersey to Mitchell Athletic Complex, which is deep on Long Island. John knows that. You had that happen. I don't know what it's going to be like for people going from New York to Patterson, but I do think that people will travel somewhat for this team, because that team is still special to a lot of people. Shout out to, look, there are people who are on r/MLS with the Cosmos flair to this day, just screaming about like how their team was robbed. They're going. Those people will go, and I respect them for it. But I don't know if you're going to have someone come up from, say, New Brunswick who's like, "Oh, the Cosmos are back. I'm going to go check this out." You already have to be in soccer to see that, because if you're in New Brunswick, you're probably and you're interested in soccer at all, you're probably going to go up to see Philly Union when Messi comes around, or you're going to see Harrison where something's going on. I'm not sure if the Cosmos is going to be the thing for you. It's going to be that building out phase. But the one thing they got going for them is that USL is on CBS now, so the Cosmos is going to be back on CBS.
Kind of mentioned the Cosmos brand before we let you go. Our good friend Gio Cañas, he grew up a Cosmos fan. Like, he lives, breathes the Cosmos. Like, he loves the Triumph more than the Cosmos now.
He's not a New Yorker, right?
He did live in New York.
Okay.
He was a New Yorker temporarily. Like, he lived down Central America, then came up.
Okay.
So Honduras? No. Anyway. So like he is a New Yorker, so he knew the Cosmos. But like there are people who work in the USL, like our good friend Gio, like he works for the Triumph, and he's a Cosmos fan. Like it. That's how big it was. That's how big they are.
The Cosmos were funny enough, they were the alt rock. There's a comment in my story that I found from Eric Stover back on a podcast in March, where he said he liked when he was hated, when the Cosmos were so hated back in like the 2010s, because back then NYCFC was just starting. The Red Bulls were they were still on the Henri high. They were starting to get those supporter shields like in the mid to early 2010s. So they were hot, and the Cosmos were back, and they were winning NSL. They were in the Soccer Bowl, so everyone was like competing against one another, and the Cosmos were the alternative. They were the other thing. They were, you watched your NYCFC on Yes Network, you watched your Cosmos on MSG, and Red Bulls were also on MSG actually. So you just kind of had these differentiations, and it was fun. People don't understand how fun it was. You saw Raul playing on a college stadium. You saw a Spanish national team player on the hottest turf you could, playing against a team called the Puerto Rican Islanders, who were just nearly in the Champions League final, because of course they were. Like it was madness, and everyone loved it. It was never going to last because the brightest stars flame out the fastest, but no one's ever going to take away those 2010s, man. And no one's ever going to take away the Cosmos beating NYCFC twice in the US Open Cup.
Bless. Ryan, you have a Cosmos fact or Corey Hertzog fact?
He did actually play 5 games against the New York Cosmos in his career and scored a goal and got a yellow card in the same match when he played for the Rowdies in 2015. Then he had also 2 games with FC Edmonton back in 2013 as well.
The Eddies! Let's go.
I hope Corey Herzog knows that he's like our mascot of this podcast.
That's also the FC Edmonton with the better logo than the CPL one, which I will die on that hill.
100%. He might have been a teammate of Matt Van Oekel at that point.
Yes,
Taylor.
he would have been a teammate of Matt
That's
Van
a
Oekel.
name. That's a
He's
dude.
still playing. He's still
Is he
kicking.
what?
He's
Yeah.
Birmingham's best
Starting
keeper.
goalkeeper. Yeah.
Oh, God.
So,
It
yeah.
would be Herzog's 15th team if he joined the Cosmos.
They'll go with it.
When we create our USL show TST team, Corey Herzog's my first call.
Oh God, if you do a TST team, like there's a bunch of Cosmos. There's a bunch of bring out Danny Setza,
Bless. All right, Michael, where can we find you? Where can we read all the things? Where can we read your thoughts?
You can find me on a lot of places. Social media wise, you can find me on Blue Sky. I'm at Batista at bluesky.social. I was one of the first. I got there early, man. I wasn't doing that again. On Twitter, you can find me at Michael Batista. My name, I had to do a lot of bribing to get that, so I'm not leaving that hell site for a while. If you want to read what I write, why? But if you do, you can find me on Hudson River Blue. That's where the Cosmos story is. If you have any more questions about that, leave a comment. You have to make an account, but leave a comment. I'll answer it. You could find me talking about the New York Red Bulls on New York Sports Nation. And you can find me writing about the U.S. Open Cup for the Cup.us and for U.S. Soccer once in a while.
Awesome. Michael, thank you so much for hopping on. Again, everybody go give the link a click and then read it as well, but then exit out and then re-click it. Read again, exit out, re-click it. Don't have to read it that time. Just click it again. So thank you so much, Michael. We really appreciate all the work that you do. So thanks for hopping on.
Always happy to be on the biggest show in the world for the biggest league.
God bless you, Michael. See you,
Thank
man.
you very much.
Thank you.
All right. That was Michael Batista, which I was about to say, I don't know what he had to do to get just Batista for the Blue Sky, but I mean, it's great. I love that for him. Absolutely love it for him. So yeah, exciting stuff. Super, super excited to see that. With an old brand comes a new brand. Boise announced their brand to much dismay. There is negative blue in there. There's not a single bit of blue, just green. We keep adding to the green teams. Ryan, you had thoughts.
I'm looking at it on my other screen. Like my initial thought was, oh, great, we have another team who has a logo that looks like an electric company in the league. But I've now, at least like looking at it longer, I just now noticed I guess you could call it the eagle's eye of the lightning bolt on it. So I don't know, it's starting to grow on me. I guess I initially thought like Tampa Bay Lightning kind of merged with Austin FC, if you will, but it's growing on me, I guess.
It's like an anamorph type thing. I don't know if I love it. I don't know if I love Athletic Club Boise in the first place. And I understand what they're doing with the whole Basque thing. And I'm not going to pretend like I understand the context of soccer fandom in Boise, Idaho. But it just feels a little bit generic. And you look at the numbers, and there are only 3,500 Basque Americans who live in Boise, which is a number. But how many of those are you going to convert to come watch the USL just because you're kind of doing the Bilbao thing? That's up for debate. Overall, I think it gives them room to work. The purple accent that Ryan pointed out with the little eye of the bird, like if we get purple and green kits, that could be fun and weird and dumb in a way I like. So yeah, kind of up and down. It feels right down the middle for me. I wish the name was something with a little bit more flair.
Yeah, you mentioned the green and purple. I didn't even notice it at first. I got to be completely honest. I kind of love that they beat USL New Orleans to it. If USL New Orleans ever chooses to exist, the fact they got green and purple first is honestly kind of hilarious. Take that, Jesters. Like you'll never be the first one. I don't know. I didn't realize Basque. I was thinking it was like Sassuolo. I guess it's just as green. It's also a similar vibe to that. My only thought was if they were going to play on the blue field, right, that this is a colorblind person, like biggest nightmare, blue field, green kits. Like that's just rude. That was my first thought. But I don't know. There's a part of me that wishes that they went with the blue, but also this could be the situation of they wanted to be anything but blue because everybody thought they would be blue. I don't know.
Can I just say, like, Alta, Triumph, Hearts of Pine, Omaha, now Boise, all in green. Too much green. Like, moratorium on new green clubs entering League One. And I know the Cosmos are going to basically be the same thing, so I'm just wrecked with this, but whatever.
I'm going to give Omaha a bit of a pass because they're Volt.
Sure.
It's like neon, almost yellow, but everybody else, yeah, I'm with you.
To lean into the, I guess, Basque nature of it all, if they really wanted to do something new within USL, they would only have players from Washington, Oregon, and Idaho to have a true kind of Basque, I guess, Pacific Northwest team.
I love that.
Could you imagine?
Cascadia, the name was eluding me.
I mean, hey, that'd be a decent team. You get whatever kids are coming out of the Sounders and Timbers academies, do your thing. I like it.
Gonzaga and
sure, yeah.
There was one little bit of news real fast. Oakland Roots officially get all of the Raiders' old facility, which I just want to hit on that fast. It sounds like it's not a big deal, but when I'm telling you, like, that's massive. The difference between NFL facilities and MLS facilities is just completely different world. It's not even the same conversation. You're looking at what the NFL does versus even MLS, which is supposed to be the top flight. That is a big, big deal for the Roots.
Well, then compare it to the Roots against every other team in the USL, essentially. Like, night and day to a degree you can't even imagine. I'm not going to like disparage specific clubs and how they train, but Oakland is at such an advantage compared to essentially everybody. It's yet another example of how this club is doing everything right and adding value to something that could have gone by the wayside in Oakland with the Raiders gone. You love to see it on every front.
Yeah, if you're going to look at this Oakland Raider, or not Oakland Raiders, the Oakland Roots in a Football Manager save, they will have 5-star facilities as part of that save. Like, you can make the argument that the Raiders not only had really great facilities, they had arguably better facilities than other NFL teams currently in the league, hence Cincinnati Bengals. But yeah, this is a major get for Oakland, and honestly should be a selling point for when they're coming to recruiting players to come play for the Roots.
Yeah, and not just that, the Soul, right? Which the Soul want to be in the Super League. They like Oakland to the Super League is a thing, will happen. That's just another reason why, like, it's something to build on top of, right? It again, they're rooted to the soil, right? Like they're rooted in Oakland. That's what they do. But again, it's just big investments is what they can do. I mean, they're going to be able to offer so much more. And I just to kind of comment on what here in chat, please put some respect on MLS facilities. They're world class. Yes, they are. I agree. But NFL money is different. NFL money is different, right? I mean, NFL facilities will put almost any other facility in the world to shame. Like what the NFL does in terms of training facilities is just you will not find anything else like it besides maybe some top 4 or top 5 leagues in Europe, and only the top of the top, right? That is the level we're talking about of what the NFL facilities are. MLS are great, but NFL money is otherworldly. It's hard to comprehend. So it just, even if these facilities are outdated compared to NFL standards, it is still ahead of MLS standards and a lot of European teams as well. So just kind of want to throw that out there. Anything else before we go to our combined best 11? All right. So let's go ahead and do our combined best 11. So it is the midway point in the season, and it is time for us to talk about who's been good, who has been bad. And so we're going to do what we did last year, which was make our combined best 11, which is we are combining League One and the championship. Now, with League One and the championship, we don't have a quota of we have to do half, and we have to do League One, half championship. We're just taking the best players from both, and they're relatively weighted, right? So that's what we're here to do. This will get posted later, and we'll talk about all things we got wrong. What we have on the screen right now is just a bunch of placeholders. So I want to just go ahead and I want to throw out my lock, which is the head coaching spot, actually. Ryan Martin. I want to hear arguments for anybody else besides Ryan Martin, because when you consider how good Loudon are doing on top of the fact of what they are going through in terms of ownership, I don't see anybody else doing the coaching job like he is.
I mean, you can throw a shout to Lee Wiedemann with Spokane, obviously, just because of the excellence and the way they are really taking a leap above the rest of League One. I personally like what Luke Spencer is doing in Tulsa quite a bit. I think that is subtly maybe the team that is overperforming expectations to the highest degree in the West. But yeah, I'm not going to give you any pushback with Ryan Martin, somebody I've been praising for years, doing an incredible job with Loudon, not only in terms of maintaining that consistent style, but building on it, improving this team, making do with a decent amount of injuries this year and that low budget. Yeah, nothing but impressive from him.
Yeah, I would go with Ryan Martin as well. The only other shout I would say that we've mentioned him in the past has been Scott McKenzie with what he's been doing with, within Chattanooga as being such a frustrating team to set up against. And also another team like Loudon that's had their own fair share of off the field issues as well. But Ryan Martin, basically Loudon, like we had picked them to be bottom 2 of the Eastern Conference this year. And John, I think I saw from your playoff odds that they're pretty much a virtual lock to get into the postseason now. So I'd be very happy with him as the selected head coach.
McKenzie's a great shout, by the way. I'd be more than happy to hear that conversation as well. But I think when you look at league standings, I think Loudon's probably Ryan Martin's probably the more correct answer. So I think for me, I'm going to just kind of throw out some people, and I want to start with my favorite position on the field, which is the goalkeeper. And I have just two names, and one of them is the same one that our good friend Eamon Zayed kind of put on Twitter. I'm proposing either Danny Vitiello or Carlos Valdez.
Vitiello did not enter on the register for me, so that's fascinating. I was kind of, in terms of championship picks, friend of the show, Hugo Farou, was kind of my guy, given the fact that he's so good with the ball at his feet, so good facing down pressure. And of course, he's bringing it in terms of the shot stopping. I think he's top 3 or 4 in saves right now. Nico Camposano from Monterrey as well. 52 saves to lead the championship. No one else is even above 38. Like, he's doing incredible work with a really great burden for Monterrey. But yeah, Mauricio Valdez in Spokane ultimately was my pick at this spot as well. Almost 5 XG prevented this year. He's got the second most pass completions in League One of any goalkeeper. Maybe less of the incision that you could get from Hugo Farou. But I think if you're looking for a goalkeeper who has done the most to elevate his team, Carlos Mauricio Valdez is my guy too.
Also giving at least another shout out to Matt Levy within the Charlotte Independents. And then I wanted to at least, talk about, Johan Peronada for Tulsa as well. Maybe that's a little bit more for Tulsa's really stellar defense right now in the league. They have the lowest number of goals allowed in the Western Conference at the moment. But I would kind of lean a lot towards Nico Camposano in the championship.
Yeah. Speaking of, I don't know, Camposano, obviously he was massively keeping Monterey Bay in things, but it's kind of since sort of regressed back to the means a little bit. Hugo Farou is a great shout, John, by the way. I love what he does on the ball, what he is able to do to pick out passes. I think he is also a very good shot stopper. For me, when I'm kind of looking into what the analytics may say, the one thing that I have also seen is that sometimes I feel like we're looking at stuff like handling, like how safe hands are they, like catching the ball versus parrying and all that kind of stuff. I feel like Vitiello was a little bit more clean with that, but also when you look at what Farou adds in terms of being a passer, being an outlet, I think it's great. But yeah, I think in the end, we're just going to go with Carlos Mauricio. Oh my gosh, Mauricio Valdez, if I could just say it, for our goalkeeping position. Any thoughts on that before we go on?
Yeah, we're in terms of field players, we're 1 for 1 with guys I slotted in, so I cannot complain.
I love that. John, I don't want to take from your back 4 article, but when we originally planned to do this last week, and I started prepping for this 2 weeks ago, there was a name that you mentioned that was an easy pick for me. I want you to talk about him just a little bit.
Well, where are we? Are we starting in the midfield?
He was a no-brainer for me, and I at least know that you're on my side, so I feel like we might as well get the easy conversation done first.
Are we talking about a midfielder for Phoenix Rising, perhaps?
We sure are.
Okay, Hope Avayevu, who I think is a name that maybe has not broken out into the broader discourse of the USL, but subtly is doing incredible things for Rising this season. Like, for my money, he's been one of the best players in the league, bar none. He leads all midfielders in dual wins. He's really able to do damage from anywhere in the midfield. Often he's kind of starting as the left-sided number 8 in a 4-3-3 for Phoenix, but he's able to push ahead into the box quite often, and he's so clever about when he chooses to do so. He's got this ability in this low center of gravity where he can really create separation on the dribble. You pair that with the fact that he's basically become Pa Mudaka's go-to guy when they need a man mark in the midfield. There really isn't a facet of the game where Hope Avayevu doesn't excel. This is obviously a crowded position if you look top to bottom, but what he has done as a number 10 really sets Avayevu apart for my money.
9 goal contributions on the year as well, so that's a really apt choice for the midfield.
So we have that one. I want to look a little bit. Let's kind of go to some center back options now. Okay, there's been a lot of good center back play this year. A little bit of, I don't want to say regression along the way, but a lot of players who are just kind of floating around generally. John or Ryan, who are some players for you guys that have stood out in the center back department?
I would love to shout out Kyle Adams as the first guy that, frankly, I would vote for as Defender of the Year. When you consider Lou City, it's very easy to look at Arturo Ordonez and Sean Tosh and say, oh, those are the players with the All-League awards in the past. Maybe they're the biggest difference makers. Every time I watch this team play, it's Adams that's really standing out to me. He has this sense, like Tosh, of when he can push ahead and become a contributor offensively, but he's so steady at picking his moments, setting this baseline to either recycle the ball or to step up against opposing counterattacks. I think he's maybe second in the league in aerial wins, if I'm remembering correctly. He just feels so consistent. You never see Adams make a high leverage mistake that you will occasionally see from some of his teammates. And Louisville has an elite defense, obviously. Some of that comes down to the system and what Danny Cruz is doing. But for me, Adams is a player that's taken a huge leap and would be in my team.
I at least wanted to, just going back to that Tulsa shout, Lamar Batista was at least one player I wanted to highlight at center back for that same Tulsa team, 70 clearances on the year. He's just been a really fantastic part of this Tulsa back line, and part of the reason why they've now moved into an under 2.5 goals is an easy bet selection for me on most weekends. So he would be one of my recommendations at center back.
Batista was on, I have 3 championship CBs here, and Batista was on my list as well. Great shout.
Yeah, so that's 2. So I'm going to go ahead, write in Batista. I like the Kyle Adams shout. I do. I think that you could look at a lot of, Batista. Did I say Batista anyway? I like the Kyle Adams shout as well. I think what I'm also wanting to look at, I think that for me in the back line, I want to find also someone from, I'm trying to think now, because like One Knox is a team that has been standing on their head all year long, and pick your favorite defender. Honestly, like, I mean, you can go anywhere up the middle, and I think you'll be happy with what you're dealing with. So, is there someone from that One Knox back line that you'd be excited to have?
Yeah, kind of same deal where I earmarked 3 League One center backs, and I had Jordan Skelton. Frankly, somebody that I would have voted for as the Defender of the Year last season, and I think he's really replicated that level of performance. The way that he's evolved his game as One Knox has changed from a back 3 team into a club that runs a back 4 has been so impressive. Skelton was often the guy that sat in the middle and cleaned up danger last time. This year, he's a little bit more active, but still hyper efficient for a Knoxville team that admittedly in very few games has only allowed 8 goals. Like, that's hugely impressive to see.
Yeah, if I was going to go with someone, I think I'd go Skelton, but Haugley has also been really good. Like, really
He's
good.
One of those weird players where he's played a little bit in the midfield, a little bit at center back. Like, you don't know where to slot him in. I did want to shout out 2 more names out of League One here.
Sure.
One being Nick Spielman from the Charlotte Independents.
Mm-hmm.
That's a team that I think we sleep on because they've tended to have a lot of star power in the midfield and the forward lines. Spielman has been there for years, constantly doing the job. Hasn't missed a minute yet this season. 75 clearances, like huge numbers. He fits more in the mold of that physical center back, that ball stopper, whereas David Garcia, who I think is the opposite side of the coin because he's so technical, so good with the ball at his feet, the way he initiates play from that right side for Spokane really defines a lot of what they do. I found it interesting. If you look at the velocity with Garcia on the pitch and without him on the pitch, they allow twice as many goals per game when he's not in the team. Like, that's a real signifier of impact for me. So you really can't go wrong with any of these guys. But yeah, I wanted to get some shout outs there for the L1 killers.
On the League One side, I was leaning Garcia and Skelton myself. Those were the two that I had earmarked. So here's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to put down here Skelton, if I can spell his name right, / Garcia, and we can come back to it. And that way we have two center backs already kind of ready to go, and we can decide if we want to go 3-back, 4-back, whatever. Okay. So to figure out if we're going to go 3 or 4-back, what fullbacks, are there any fullbacks that have stood out to you, left back or right back?
At the right back spot, and I know I'm already kind of breaking this because Rafa Menzingen is a weird fit in that he's very much an attack-first wingback.
Yes.
But what he has done in that role with North Carolina FC has been pretty exceptional. Tons of dual wins, tons of ability to get over the top and really provide that team with a way to stretch opponents from the right sideline. You got 10 chances created, 21 shot attempts. John Bradford this season has often toyed around with his lineups and really mixed it up with the way that North Carolina wants to approach games. Menzingen has been the constant presence that's always challenging defenses, hyper consistent, continues to improve as a defender year over year as he gets more accustomed to that role. He's been incredible for me.
Menzingen, he kind of feels to me like a Bruno Radon role, where is he a midfielder? Is he a fullback? If we did a back three, I'd have no question on having him in personally. That's where I am, but that's kind of one of those where are we kind of situations.
Sure.
For me, I find fullback to be a little bit underwhelming this year. I do have a shout for left back, which is Chris Gloucester. I think he's been class this year. I think he's been very good at playing left back for New Mexico United. He is one of their primary like mover of the balls, right? Like he is someone who gets a lot of touches. He does get into a few, like he's there defensively. He does a job. But for me, it's the way that he makes the attack flow and continues to move the ball and keep that possessive style that New Mexico wants. He feels like the key cog for that for me.
I would argue that Jalen Lindsay at right back has been better than Gloucester at left back, which obviously speaks to the fact that New Mexico is stacked from front to back. But yeah, Gloucester's a good shout. Left back is significantly stronger than right back, as I was kind of going through names. Like you think about what Kwame Awuah is doing with Loudon, Emmanuel Samadia, more of the wing back for Hartford. Even a Nathan Messer in Portland has been exceptional so far. Derek Waldeck in Spokane. I found it harder to pick out guys on the right, which is not useful for this exercise. Like it just makes it harder to pick. But yeah.
We got an Owen Dom shout in the chat.
I love that. I know Ewan is a Tulsa fanatic in terms of some of these guys, but Dom has been the real deal, like growing in a major way this season.
So
for left back, I was going to shout out Ricardo Ruiz as well for El Paso.
Yeah. I mean, lots of good players on the left side. I think the issue is coming down to this right-hand side on this. So,
I mean, Aiden McFadden, a guy I love. He's played, granted, he's played on the left a little bit this season, and it's also the wing back problem, but yeah.
Yeah. Him and Dia kind of switched that left back role. I have a proposition.
Okay.
Let's just figure out the midfield and possibly strikers and then come back to the back line because I feel like that's an easier conversation.
I feel like we can sort out left back. I feel like we can come to a consensus here.
All right. Who is your proposed person? Are you going to stick with Minskin?
Oh, I was saying left back.
Oh, yeah. So sorry. Yeah.
No, you're good. You're good.
Left back. Yeah.
I mean,
who you got?
It's tough too because Gloucester's a great shout. For me, I think it is Derek Waldeck. I think what he has done supporting possession for Spokane has been incredible. He's putting up more than 5 recoveries a game, which is really indicative of his ability to collect knockdowns, get into the mix in second ball situations. His positioning is just flawless, both in terms of underlapping runs, how he interacts with Pierre Reedy, but that ability of knowing when to stay back and solidify the Spokane defense. He's not as flashy as someone like a Gloucester or an Awua or a Samadia at the championship level, but man, he just feels solid for that team.
He's also someone who's not getting the assist numbers, but
Right.
he is, if you're watching him, he's creating chances. That's the thing, is like he's not getting the direct assist because, I mean, they don't really have people who are going to just get their heads on balls, right? But he's creating chances. He's creating opportunities. I'm with the Waldeck shout. For me, I would go Waldeck or Gloucester.
Okay, let's slot in Waldeck, and if we get really imbalanced, we can mix it up.
Got it. Let's do it.
I do want to shout out the comment here from Ben Clemens about Husu Landry, outside back extraordinaire. He is impossible for an exercise like this because he's played right back, left back, and center mid, basically similar amounts of minutes. Like, you could put him at any of those spots and feel really good about it. What a player.
So what about right back? If we're going to have a left back, we got to have a right back.
Do you have other guys, Scalar? Like, who are you fighting for here?
That's the issue, is I'm really not fighting for anybody to be my right back. I just got to be honest. Speaking of,
Well, okay, if we're thinking,
speaking of Spokane, though,
yeah, well, if we're thinking, yeah, go ahead, please.
Siobhan John Brown's been awesome.
But he's playing right winger this year.
Kinda.
But they're going heel or Opara at that.
Yeah, like Lucky Opara has. Yes, like Lucky Opara has been there. There's also been Siobhan John Brown. I think Opara has been great too. Like they're both kind of the same person to me, like playing those roles, because they do just kind of interchange so well. They're both just kind of left mid.
I think we can't give Spokane the goalkeeper, left back, and right back. How about that?
You are correct, but they're that good.
I don't disagree, but like, if we're trying to be tactical about this, Waldeck is a player who is very comfortable sitting low when he needs to and taking on more of a defensive role. So if we've got Rafa as that high flying right back, you got a sense of balance.
I have another right back.
Please.
Keegan Tingy.
Oh, yeah. I love it. He's been awesome for Loudoun, and that team is significantly worse when he's off the pitch or when they're forced to play him at right back. Yeah, or rather as a center back instead of a right back. And I think the balance he gives them, given what they've got on the left side with Awua and Abakora, is so underrated. I love that.
We go with Tingy?
Boom.
Bang. All right. So, oh gosh, how do I? Is it EY? Is he an EY?
Tingey.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if he was an EY or just a Y. So we have hope in the midfield. So we do love a good number 6 on the show. We love to give credit to our central mid. So we have Uzu Landry, who was arguably the best 6 in the league last year. I know it's not really the role he's played, but also kind of is the role he plays right now. Is there anybody competing with Aaron Malloy at the 6 right now?
It depends what you're looking for out of your 6. I have an awards article coming out this week on Backheeled where I'm kind of trying to make the argument that Boubacar Diallo is like the most underrated player in the USL for what he's doing with FC Tulsa. That team is very direct, or at least they started the year that way. And Giallo was unbelievable about claiming knockdowns, getting in the mix, battling. He's really been injury proof. Like, he's only missed about 60 minutes all season long, winning more than 60% of his duels. And as this team has grown more possessive, he's done not Aaron Malloy play setting sort of things, but he's safe on the ball, very good about receiving on the turn and getting that edge on opponents. I think he's been an incredible player. And then if we're talking Malloy directly, has Mikey Maldonado been better at the Aaron Malloy thing than Aaron Malloy in 2025?
Good point.
Possibly.
Good point. So we're looking at Diallo, which, I mean, just to kind of talk about levels to this, right? He completely usurped a guy like Edwin Lasso, who was arguably Tulsa's best player last year, and he's doing it better than Lasso, right? That's the level of Diallo has been. I'm cool with that being the number 6 personally. I think that is, I mean, I would be more than happy for that to be our number 6.
Do we have League One shouts that we're feeling passionate about here?
He hasn't played in, well, I don't know how much the numbers are going to love him, but I can tell you with what I see every day, I still think that Omar Sis might be the best 6 in League One.
So going into this and doing prep and trying to pull numbers on some guys, I'm like, okay, great. Omar Sis is someone who I really want to argue for. And you just can't make a statistical argument that he should be in this team. Like, his numbers are not impressive in almost any way. And yet you and I would watch him for that Independence team and be absolutely convinced that he's one of the best players in the league.
I think if you want to make statistical arguments, I think you could probably look at a Chris Heckenberg for Naples. When they were doing the 2 number 6s, he was the star. Now they've gone to a solo number 6, and he has been the guy. I think Heckenberg could be in that conversation, but for me, it's Sister Heckenberg.
If we want to do another League One person, I'd do Heckenberg.
Cool.
Okay, Heckenberg.
I also think it's important to get some League One guys in now, because I'm going to have some nearly undeniable opinions about what's happening in the front line, those wing spots, just given some of the championship performances we've seen.
Absolutely. All right, so we have a number 6 and kind of an outside back with Hope. Kind of. He's been like that left central mid. So we're
he's like an 8. Yeah.
So who else do we have in that midfield? Who are we thinking?
I mean, we've not said Taylor Davila's name yet, which is a little bit crazy.
Yes.
Another player I wrote about today, frankly, but he's incredible. And he's done it this season in Louisville without a consistent partner. Like, coming into the season, it was going to be Zach Duncan and Taylor Davila doing their thing in the midfield. When Duncan went down, it became, okay, is it going to be Josu Land, or what am I saying? Is it going to be Kevon Lambert? Is it going to be Ivan Davila? Lately, Carlos Mogul has been getting some minutes. Even despite those changes, Davila has still been unbelievable running the show for this team. Good about defensive stops and contributing in the press. Very clean on the ball, with a perfect understanding of when he needs to play towards the box. You can't say enough about him in every phase of play, essentially. My dumb take, if we want to go for somebody who is more of like a number 10, really going to be advanced, is dipping back into the League One mix and saying Admir Spengler deserves the shout.
He's been so good too.
I'm a little bit biased because he is in unbelievable form right now. But Texoma hasn't scored a goal in USL play without Spengler on the pitch. That means something. Like, the guy has constant energy, unbelievable dribbling. He is the heart and soul of that team.
So
I know it's been tough since he's moved up to Tampa Bay, but Luis Alvarez from his time at Charlotte was also worth a shout. But I could also see his Tampa Bay stint so far, or keeping him out of this team.
There's also been the shout of Mendence in the chat already. So there's that option as well. I'm just going to throw this out there because I got to be honest with you, John. I will fight for Taylor Davila in here. I will fight for that one. And it's something that you said last year, maybe, and it stuck with me, that we just see Taylor Davila make passes and we just kind of accept them to be normal when they're just disgusting.
I tweet this about every 2 months where it's like Taylor Davila just did the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen on a soccer field. And we're like, oh, yeah, that's Taylor Davila, of course.
So last year when we did our midseason, it was just championship. We did our midseason. We did a 4-4-2 diamond.
Okay.
And we are finding in our space, self in our space, because I also think Spengler is a great shout. We might be looking at a similar situation. Do we have two wingers, right wing, left wing, that we
Yes.
really want? Okay.
I don't think that this team can exist without Abdelatif Abukora and Juan David Torres.
Yeah.
Like, I think at every level of the USL, those have been the best two players, bar none.
I completely agree.
And I feel bad for like snuffing it out because someone like a Connor Evans, what he's doing in Greenville has been unreal, even if he's moved to the 10 a little bit more recently. And then I know, injury aside, like Darwin Espinal would have been in the conversation for the left wing. But Torres and Abukora, that level of consistency, that's just something else.
I'll
echo the Abukora shout. And then, like you said, John, Darwin Espinal was the other one that kind of stuck out to me within League One. But like the turnaround that Loudon has had this year, if off the back of 11 goals in the league from Abukora, it's really tough to leave him out.
Y'all talk. I need to mute myself so I'm not like obnoxious with typing.
You love to see it. Yeah, I mean, Abukora, 14 goals in all competitions. It's a tight race between him and Juan David Torres for who is capable of the most moments of magic in a given game. Like anytime they are on the ball, there's a chance that it's in the back of the net within 10 seconds. And you can't say that about really any other player in League One or the Championship. Torres in particular, he's taking about 15% more touches year over year within that Charleston system. I'm not going to say they're reliant on him because that would be silly to point out about any player within a Ben Pierman team, but they've let him really run the show this season in a way that has been unbelievable to watch. Like, he's a special player, and I hope he can get a move at some point if he desires that.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't going to be able to go up without a Juan David Torres or Abukora whatsoever. We weren't going to be able to do it. So we have one more spot on the pitch, and that is up top. There's a lot of people I think you could go with. So
you want this to be a 7th championship player or a 5th League One player?
Personally, I don't really care. To be honest, like, we're trying to make the best team we can. To me, it doesn't completely matter. However, I think that he's fallen off because he's gotten hurt, but I want to have the conversation of Carson Interlong. Even now, I still think he's been the signing of the offseason of any league. He's been that good, but the goal scoring's fallen off because he got hurt, and like Naples has been snuffed out a little bit, but he's that good.
This was a two-man debate for me. Cal Jennings being the very obvious pick, given what he's doing for the Battery. He obviously leads the USL in goals amongst strikers, but Henderlong, 6 goals in his own right. And the finishing has been impressive, but it's kind of the everything else in his game that has been putting him over the top. Like Matt Poland and how he sets Naples up, wants that striker to be involved in the press. Henderlong is taking the ball away 0.9 times per game in the final third, which is kind of ridiculous for any striker to be doing. He's successful on the dribble at least once per game. Those are numbers that kind of betray how complete a player he is atop that system. I think it's tough when you are at midseason and you come across a player like Henderlong that started so hot but has cooled down. And yes, there are injuries involved, but I think the level of performance at his peak has deserved the nod in this team.
Another League One shout would be Christian Chaney for Charlotte as well. 7 goals on the season.
Yeah, Christian Chaney just kind of does this every year where you just kind of say, oh, wow, he's doing another backflip. What is that, his 3rd goal? Oh, my God, it's 12, right? Like You just kind of get shocked. So yeah, JJ Williams can't get healthy enough for quick enough for Rhode Island. But I would go Interlong, although Cal, I mean, you're going to be felt a little hard done by if you're Cal Jennings, which he clearly cares what we think. He's writing angry comments right now. But personally,
it is tough to lead out the Golden Boot leader for USL at the moment.
Well, I mean, I'll just double down, man. Cut the rat tail. That's what we need to get in this team.
Cut the rat tail or finally kill a youngling. We got two options.
Yeah, right.
Are we gonna have a New York Yankees type of rule where there's just like no like?
They were starting 11.
We also have not decided on right center back.
Oh, we have not. Oh, yikes! So Skelton Garcia. So let's have that conversation.
Skelton for parity? ? Since we're doubling on Spokane.
I take Skelton.
I mean, I think Skelton has been borderline better anyway, personally. So I think I'm definitely cool with that.
It's very different team context, which I think makes it a kind of an impossible debate. So I'm here for it.
Yes. All right. Let me Skelton. I can't. Is it Jordan? Jordan?
Yes, Jordan.
Okay. It's like
Who do you give the armband to?
Oh, good question. This is a young team.
This is a young team. Is Skelton our oldest?
Possibly.
Interesting. It's either that. I mean,
Heckenberg and Waldeck feel like my two.
For your captain, I was going to go Heckenberg. I always like a CDM with the captain armband. Personally, I just kind of like the vibe.
Davila, question mark.
Is Davila the captain for Lou City?
No, I think it's Shantosh. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'm terrible with captaincies, so go with
Sure.
God on this one. Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling not Interlong. That'd be crazy. Heckenberg.
Perfect.
Let's go with Heckenberg.
He gets to see. All right.
Somebody's gonna see this without context on Twitter and be like, "What's wrong with these guys?"
And then it's perfect because I can just tag the link in this and it get absolutely bombed because Twitter hates links. So, let's kind of look at it. So we went with a 4-3-3, and from the back we have Mauricio Valdez in goalkeeper. Going from left to right, at left back, Derek Waldeck, left center back, Lamar Batista, right center back, Jordan Skelton. Those really don't matter. They're interchangeable. Keegan Tingy at right back. And the base of our midfield, Chris Heckenberg. I always mess up his name. Hope Avievu on that left center mid. Right center mid is Taylor Davila. Left wing, Abdelatif Abukara, right wing, Juan David Torres, and up top, Carson Interlong. So, is there any last minute changes we want to make to this that you want to fight for before we kind of call it a day?
I think every player here except Tingy, which was a great shout, was on my list. So happy with it.
Who would have been on your right back list, by the way?
I had Rafa, Aiden McFadden, and Joshua Ramos from Chattanooga, who I think has been kind of unreal. And what a surprise, too. Like, I never saw him coming.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. So we don't do a bench here. We haven't done it before. We just kind of stick it here. Of those people, is there someone that you feel like, yeah, listen to me butcher names, you should really listen to the Semi-Pro USL show because it's sad. It is horrific. It is bad. Do you know how long it took me to pronounce the word chupacabra the first time I saw it? Scared the crap out of me. So is there an honorable mention that we'll mention here, but they won't get to make the graphic?
Oh, boy. This is a great question. I mean, for me, it is Spengler because the guy is just fun and energy. Like, that's my one.
Yeah, I think honestly, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I think that you are going to have conversations. Someone's going to probably mention a Malloy. A Landry, I think, deserves a shout. You deserve more Lou City recognition besides just Taylor Davila, but also Lou City is kind of a constant third team all USL team where everybody on there is just one of the best, but not always the best. That's just kind of been their thing for a long time now. Not having a Pittsburgh Riverhound in the back line felt weird, but also they're kind of a system, not really, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, how many times can Bob Lilly just plug in a random college kid and turn him into a good contributor before it's like, that's just the system?
It's fair. Totally fair point. All right. Well, that is our lineup. That is that. Very excited to post that. And then people just say, what's wrong with you? You're stupid. So I will go ahead and download that. And we'll talk and we'll post it tomorrow morning. So for all the people who are here, you heard it here first. And we had a lot of conversation today. The Lexington situation. We talked Cosmos. We have the midseason best 11. We have a little bit of Boise talk. What did we miss? Anything USL related that we're really wanting to get to before we go?
I just love the Jägermeister Cup. Like, having the interleague matchups, rules, in a selfish way, like from the coverage standpoint, being able to just blend championship and League One. I wish that was the case all the time. Like, so much easier for me as an individual human being. But yeah, you get a result like whatever happened with Tormenta Charleston, the Greenville versus Miami game, Texoma Phoenix. Those were the best games of the weekend, and it was because we're integrating that interleague play into the mix. It's awesome to see.
And just encouraging high-scoring games from the tiebreakers alone, it makes it easier for me to bet over 2.5 goals for pretty much just about every game. And John, like you said, just combining them made it just look better on the weekly article that I do. But yeah, you're just seeing a lot more of just kind of that interleague play. You're getting fan bases to interact with each other who typically wouldn't run into one another. And it kind of like, it makes the USL ecosystem feel, I guess the term is to say it makes the world feel a little smaller, as the fact that you're starting to interact with a lot more of USL rather than just, I guess, tangentially hearing about a league that is either above or beneath you if your team isn't in that league. So yeah, the Jägermeister's just been plenty of fun, and just one more match day of the group stage to go.
We kind of got it into the chat of the new Super League logo that I just wanted to quickly, if you didn't see it, it's kind of just the new partnership logo essentially. So it is, if I can pull it up right here. There it is, the Gamebridge Super League. It's there. It's just the old Super League logo, but now in a crest to put it all together. So
can I just say I think this looks terrible. Like, I don't understand why this was the decision. Why are we doing the Block S? I don't know, man. I understand that, like, there's a classy way to do the sponsorship. This crest in particular is really bad.
Even without the crest, couldn't they have just put Gamebridge as like the title on top of the Block S and let that stand for?
That's what they did at the end of the season. They just did Gamebridge Super League with the text, and now they've done this crest with like 8 elements that don't work together and that white background. Like, what are we doing?
We have a crest within a crest here.
Yes, that's my issue.
The inception of crests.
There's like 4 fonts going on.
It's fine. So, really fast, Jaeger Cup. So, wild card standings. Okay. I want to give a quick update on that. If Birmingham and Hartford win outright, they are locked into the wild card spots. They will be on 10 points. Nobody else can get up to 10. If they win in regular time, they are locked in. If there's a whole lot of, if this team wins and this team loses in extra time or in penalties, or this team wins, but this team wins in penalties, there's a lot of weird tiebreakers. I'm only focused on wild card. If Birmingham Hartford win, they are automatically locked in. New Mexico would be your third tiebreaker or your third place right now with 6 points and 7 goals scored. Sacramento is in fourth with 6 points and 5 goals scored. Charlotte and Monterey Bay are tied with 6 points, both with 5 goals scored, 4 goals against. There's other tiebreakers that are listed on there that don't make any sense to me, and I need someone who's a lot smarter than me to explain what they actually mean. Because they talk about head-to-head matchups, but that doesn't make any sense because they're in different divisions. I don't know what that even means. So then in 8th place with the least chance of getting in is Miami on 5 points with 6 goals for, 7 against. The only way they get in is if they win outright and everybody else above them loses. So you're really realistically looking at Hartford through Monterey Bay from 7 to 6 points. And realistically, you're hoping one of Hartford or Birmingham lose and loses outright in regular time. That's what you're rooting for if you're a fan of New Mexico, Sacramento, Charlotte, and Monterey.
I think that points shouldn't be the tiebreaker. Like, I think points should not matter at all, and it should be just pure goals. Like, if you were Texoma and you lost every game 4-5, you could advance. That's how it should be.
I mean, wasn't that loosely what they tried to do last year? Like, wasn't that kind of the idea?
Yeah, but we should have doubled down, is what I'm saying.
Honestly, I respect that. I mean, John, our clubs went up against each other this last week, and like Indy went full turtle shell because they just needed to get points, and that's fine. Like
they've been full turtle shell for about 4 weeks at this point, and it's not doing much for them.
This is a good point, but like they went full turtle shell, which feels very against the spirit of the game. You know, like if this was baseball, like someone's getting thrown out over this. Like this goes against the spirit of the game, which is the Jägermeister Cup. So, like I don't know, reward scoring goals.
If we're gonna get really chaotic, have the second tiebreaker behind scoring goals allowed, and have it be the most allowed, and just
division, yeah.
Yes, let's have like chaotic, high-scoring games. I mean, you have Phoenix who has 8 goals allowed and 8 goals scored, and it's just like that for them in the championship for league play: 24 allowed and 24 conceded, or 24 scored.
Hear me out. Every team that has a goal differential of 0 gets in.
Perfectly balanced. I like it.
Yeah. if you don't score, you better not concede. Like you better put 11 men behind that ball and fight for your absolute life. That's how I want it to go. Take it to pins every time. You see a team who scores accidentally and they are just actively opening up the floodgates to say, please score. But the other team knows that if they score, they'll give them 0 goal differential. It's anti-soccer and I love it.
USL headquarters, listen up, fellas.
Nicholas, I know you're listening. This is a good idea. Trust me.
I mean, it's the glory of the cup right now. If you look in that same kind of Group 3 standings, I love how it lists Tulsa in 3rd as already eliminated, but Madison in 4th behind them is not eliminated yet.
Havoc.
So good. All right. Any final USL thoughts before we go? All right. How about some final thoughts for the night? John?
Oh, boy. I was not prepared for this. It's so hot and humid, man. Like, I've just been kind of dying every day. I do have a couple work days off for the July 4th holiday, though, so I can't wait to just do absolutely nothing other than watch and or write about the USL.
Love that. Do you have AC in your apartment?
I do, thank God. Yeah.
Ryan?
I mean, I've been grateful that I've been able to wear a polo shirt to work this week rather than button downs like I've normally done just because of the heat. But I guess I was working through other movies that I haven't seen. I finally watched Memento from Christopher Nolan, so I was able to add that to my list. And I realized I'm at 499 movies, I guess, viewed and rated on my letterbox. So I have to find something fun for the 500.
Yeah, pick something special to commemorate.
That or it's going to be the F1 movie tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's see. 2 things. I do this probably about once every 4 months. I am in my 3-week tea kick. where
Ooh.
about once every 4 months I say I really like tea, and roughly about a week from now I'm just going to go back to coffee and forget that tea ever exists, and this is just a cyclical nature of myself, so that will happen. My wife has been watching, I think I don't remember what the full name is, Miss Maisel, I think, Amazon.
Yeah, the Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Yes,
Yeah.
Marvelous Miss Maisel. I kind of walk in an episode like every 4 episodes, and she kind of catches me up, and she says, "Oh yeah, this person." No spoilers, but just like, "Oh yeah, she's talking to mobsters. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It was bad. Now it's good. How can it be good now? Is she in the mob? No. What?" And then I'll leave for another 4 episodes, and I'm like, "What's going on?" She's at a strip club. Why? I don't know. Okay, and then I'll leave, and it just kind of keeps going like that. As someone who is not actively watching but will watch every 4 or 5 episodes, it's a fascinating thing to be a part of loosely.
We need like a recap podcast where it's just you two going through it.
She tries to explain it to me, and I'm just like, I don't even remember who that character's name is. I will say though, the manager, Susie, definitely the funniest character on the show for me. And if I could just watch an entire show of just her reacting to the world, I think I would watch every episode of it. So
I can't recall the account, but I think there's a YouTube channel where the guy, he will take like popular TV shows that's ended, where he'll watch the pilot episode and the series finale, and then just try and like picture like what happened in between, and just like not watch any of the remainder of the show.
there is one that I've seen that is all they do is watch the pilot and then they just guess the ending. I've seen that.
I love that.
Awesome. All right. Well, there's that. I'm going to try to have Semi-Pro USL show either today or it's not today, tomorrow or Thursday. Life's been busy with changing jobs, but W League playoffs have started, and I'm just going to throw it out there. Minnesota Aurora versus Pittsburgh Riveters at Highmark is going to feed families. Like, just watch it. It's going to be awesome. Pittsburgh's been selling out for the Riveters, which has been cool to see. And obviously Aurora have one of the better fan bases in the USL. So that's a fun one to keep your eye on. So all that said, thank you all so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate you. This was a fun episode. Let us know why your favorite player was missed out on and why we're stupid for excluding them. We want to hear it all. So thank you all so much. And for the first and final time tonight, here's Alan's voice.
Thank you for watching another episode of the USL Show.
The USL Show is now proudly part of the Protagonist podcast family. Please go to protagonistsoccer.com to check out more work. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see everyone again next time.